Welcome to The Women We Know. I'm your host, Stacey Ferguson, and this podcast is all about real conversations with the women in our lives who have stories worth sharing. Not the polished highlight reels, but the real moments, the challenges, the turning points, the courage, the growth, and the wisdom that comes from living a full life. My hope is that somewhere in these conversations, you'll hear something that reminds you that you're not alone and that the women around us are far more extraordinary than we sometimes realise. So wherever you are listening from, settle in, because these are the stories of the women we know. Hello and welcome to The Women We Know. Today I'm sitting down with someone who means a lot to me, a woman who helped change the course of my life, Gerry Huston. Gerry is a life and business coach, educator, author, keynote speaker and devoted mum. She's been coaching since 2011 and she happened to be my first ever life and business coach. Back in 2020, when I felt like everything was falling apart, Gerry showed up in my world. Through her life and business course, I began to piece myself back together. Gerry's ability to make anyone feel comfortable and believe in themselves before they have the ability to hold that belief on their own is out of this world. She gave me the courage to go after my dreams when they seemed so far away. I'll be forever grateful for the time that we spent together during that period of my life. Welcome to The Women We Know, Gerry. Before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Stacey, I don't think I could give myself a better rap than what you just did. I seriously have tears in my eyes because just how beautiful that introduction was, and I think you encapsulated what I hope to do with people around me every single day. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to re-listen to this. That was so beautiful.
Well, you are incredible. And I really do believe that your work is changing so many lives, you know? Yeah. Do you want to do you want to introduce yourself a little bit more or do you want to wait until we get into it and
Yeah.
it all unfolds?
Oh, well, we'll do a bit of both. But yeah, thanks so much for that, Stace. I'm Gerry Huston, like Stace just said. I live here in central Queensland and started as an educator, branched off into life coaching and business coaching. And I have just attracted the most beautiful people into my world. I love all of the people I work with. And like Stacey said, I hold that belief in those around me before they might even be able to see it or feel it themselves. And
Mm.
I'm probably the eternal optimist or problem solver. And I'm very passionate about what I do, but I'm also very passionate about being a present mum, a present partner, and a fun friend.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to get into this episode. Before we start, I mean, I know you're confident, you speak in front of people all the time, but this is brand new to me. So I like to start with a little icebreaker. And as you know, I like to sing. And as I know from doing coaching sessions with you, that you like to sing a little too.
I might.
So I do have to ask, what is your go to karaoke song?
I absolutely love Islands in the Stream with Kenny
Oh,
Rogers and Yaha. Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my kids are sick of hearing it because it's a go-to one on the playlist. So yeah,
Oh, 100%. And do you rope Tim into being Kenny or?
I try to. It doesn't take a lot of encouragement because he is a little bit of a partial to singing as well. So yeah.
Oh God, I absolutely love it. Dolly and Kenny are, two of my favorites, and yeah, perfect karaoke song. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's now that we've kind of warmed up those vocal cords, let's just talk about you. Let's.
Oh, I
I'm
thought
not
you
going
were
to
going to
ask you
get.
to sing. I'm not
That's what
going
I
to ask
thought
you to
you were
sing. It's
going to
okay.
say.
It's okay. Put the microphone away. Let's just talk about you. Let's One of the things that I've been enjoying exploring with some of our guests is the idea that as a woman we move through different seasons of our life. So tell me, Gerry, what season would you say that you're currently in at the moment?
Yeah, I absolutely love that question. And I love that you see it as seasons. So
Mm,
go through the seasons for me and what they sort of represent. Because for me, when I think of winter, I think of like hibernation, maybe a little bit in like internal looking. Spring is sort of preparing for out, stepping
mm,
out, those ideas and, birthing ideas, birthing creativity, that sort of thing. Summer when everything's sort of coming together, getting momentum. And then autumn, I'm feeling it's sort of like going into that start of that, interpersonal reflection and that sort of thing. Is that sort of what you mean by seasons?
yeah, yeah. Well, whichever way you interpret it, yeah, what sort of season, whether you put it in like the seasons of life like that in our winter, our spring, our summer, and what's the autumn? It's like, wait a minute. um, yeah, or whether you say that maybe you're starting over or you're building something new, you're in your creative stage, or you're rediscovering, or you're in the messy middle, or you're focusing on your health, or that sort of thing. Whichever way you interpret it is the way that I believe needs to be heard.
I love it. That's really cool. And I also look at seasons like there's a season to sow and a season to reap. So I really, yeah, love how you explain that. So definitely there are those seasons where I have in the past been like hyper productive and planting all of the seeds and, getting rid of weeds and all of that sort of thing. And then the season of reaping where all of that work and energy that I've put into the past has then come in the form of beautiful clients or amazing opportunities or, events and things like that. At the moment, I must say I am in a season where I probably was a little bit overwhelmed emotionally with a family member being quite unwell last year and
Mm,
supporting my husband and my children and myself through that experience. So I'm
yeah,
still in that healing season and just really pulling back to focusing on us as a family and sort of rebuilding a few emotional blocks there for us, like just getting
yeah,
a little bit stronger. So to be honest with you, in that sort of process, I did and have sort of pulled back from my coaching because I felt like I didn't have enough energy or just enough within myself to be able to be there and hold the space for others how I want to. And so at the
yeah.
moment, I'm, yeah, rebuilding from that inside out.
Yeah, and it's always. I think that's the beauty of the word season is that it's a season and it doesn't have to be kind of forever either, but it's a really good time to stop and go, okay, this is where I am right now, and this is what I need to be focusing on, and there's a reason for that as well. And I always find it so interesting how we arrive in the seasons that we're in at the this given time, and I feel like they're always shaped by things that we've walked through along the way. Kind of when you look back over your journey, do you think there's any defining sort of moments? Obviously, you mentioned about a family member being quite sick last year, but any sort of defining moments in your life that kind of makes you the woman that you are today, or a season that kind of stands out to you? I know that you've kind of already touched on a little bit, but yeah, if you want to dig a little
Yeah.
bit deeper, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that because I think it is really important to talk about how we get to where we are because a lot of people probably see the accolades or speaking in front of people and, just showing up with a smile on my face. But there's the downtime or there's the experiences
Mm,
that have hit me for six that I've had
yeah,
to pull myself up off the ground. And
yeah,
there's been a few, like I must say when I was studying teaching, I absolutely loved study, but then just before I got in to become a teacher, I just hit like a bit of a wall, which is, oh my, I felt like I probably had to start adulting for the first time ever. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? It was a
yeah,
really defining moment. And I felt like I was having like a quarter life crisis. That's how it felt
yeah.
because
Wow, wow, yeah.
yeah, gone from education in the schooling system, and then I was in the university system. And the funny thing is, I was like trained to be a teacher, so I was still going in education, but it was just in a different way. But I do that really sticks out to me because I felt it was like a really isolating time because I didn't feel like, well, looking around at friends and family and stuff like that, they seemed really happy and they had purpose. They knew what they were doing. I felt quite isolated, and it probably wasn't
Yeah.
until I started speaking to a professional about it, and they're like, "This is completely normal. This is a big transformation," but I just hadn't given myself that space. And then once I did, it
Yeah.
was like, "Ah, okay, this is normal. I've got some coping skills, and I can implement that in my life." And it just really helped me transform and step into being an adult or a teacher and going in with confidence. But the other time that probably was more pivotal for myself was when Tim and I decided we wanted to have a family. And all of those people around us, the sisters and friends, just seemed to look at their husbands and they'd fall pregnant. And it was very, very frustrating because that is definitely not what happened for Tim and I. And being a teacher, and I was doing early childhood, so I was teaching these beautiful kids around me, and that's all I desperately wanted was a child of my own. And it's something that I felt like I couldn't control. So I could go on a holiday, I could buy a new couch, I could quit a job and start a new job. I had choices of all of that, but I just
Yeah.
didn't feel like I had any control when it came to being able to have a baby. And so that started us on a 5-year journey of infertility, or fertility, however you want to sort of put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably where I really did come to that crossroads, which was, Jerry, you can stay the way you are, resenting pregnant women, hating any pregnancy announcements, feeling really jealous, angry, upset, poor me, all of that, or you can just look for a different opportunity or reach out for help. And that's what I did. I reached out for help, and I started working with a life coach. And within 3 months, my life transformed. So
Yeah.
I went from that jealous, angry, bitter young woman to being like, you know what? I'm going to create my own destiny. If I'm meant to be an auntie and not have any children, I'm going to be the best auntie there is.
Mm.
And I'm not going to hold it against all the other beautiful people sharing their amazing news. And it was that flip that just really helped me. And I just decided, if my life coach could help me transform like that, I want to help other people transform like that too. So that was a
Yeah.
really pivotal time for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like fertility journeys can be so, so incredibly complex and
Hmm.
emotional and just those ups and downs and, to be able to be in a place where you are able to even flip that like that's quite that's quite a thing to do. Uh, Obviously, you've kind of touched on what that time in your life kind of looked like. You were quite bitter and quite angry at
Oh
everything.
yeah.
How do you think that really impacted the way that you see yourself now? Well, more so not in that moment, but that flip where you're able to flip and go, okay, if I'm going to be an auntie, I'm going to be the best auntie that there is. How do you think that that's impacted the way that you see yourself now?
Yeah, so it has actually probably taught me that there's more than one perspective. There's more than one way of looking at
Mm,
things. And then in that, there's more than one way of solving a problem. So for the fertility issues, Tim and I ended up going through IVF, and we had to pay a deposit of $7,000. And that was huge. We were just like, oh my
yes.
goodness,
Yeah.
no. It's pretty big sum, but as we were paying it, we both paid it together. We were both in the Queensland IVF fertility, office there, and we did the card together, and we both were just like, whatever will be, will be. We were
Mm,
just we're not linked to the outcome. We're just doing the steps towards what it is we both desire, and if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. Whatever
yeah.
will be. Anyway,
Hmm.
so that's really helped me just in going forward, thinking if you think you've come to a roadblock, if you think you can't go any further, if you feel like you're the bottom of the barrel and it's just like, I can't get out, you can drill a hole down the
Yeah.
bottom, put your hand up, let somebody else help you out, ask for
Mm,
help, or go within. Like, just you might need that time where you are taking all the pressures off. So yeah, so there's always an out or an opportunity or a way to flip it. And you know what? It doesn't mean that it has to be happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. You might decide that you want to wallow in it for a week, 2 weeks, a month,
Yeah.
whatever. That's also okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to give yourself time and listen to what you need as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true, Stace. Definitely listen to what you need because you might need that wallowing because it's telling your body to calm down, to relax, to retreat, and it might be the first time in months or years that you've actually totally let go and allowed your body to fully rest on that physical, emotional, whatever level it needs to be.
Yeah, yeah. Jerry, I know the path that your fertility journey went on. Do you want to share it with your listeners, with our listeners?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. So, as I said, Tim and I thought, oh, wow, this is going to be so easy. Everybody around us is pregnant. It happens really quickly, it happens easily. Like, we're both healthy, we're both young. Nothing's going to stop us anywhere. After about 10 months, yeah, I know. After 10 months, we were just like, what is going on? This is just not happening. And
Mm,
each month, I'm sure people who've been on this journey before, but each month it's like a little heartbreak happens
hmm.
because we'd imagine this life where we were parents and we had these beautiful people in our world and we were allowed to be in their world and they were in our part of our world as well, and we had all this love to share. And so we started going and seeing gynecologists and that sort of thing. They're like, you haven't been trying long enough. Give it another couple of months. Give it another, give it 12 months and come back. And so 12 months and come back. Try this drug, try this, try that to increase fertility and all of this sort of thing. And the
Hmm.
frustrating part of it was Tim and I were in the category of the unexplained infertile. So there wasn't an
Yeah,
issue per se on his side, there wasn't an issue that they could see on my side. It was unexplained infertility, which is frustrating because it's like,
I can imagine.
yeah, just tell me what the problem is and then let's fix it. Come
Because you're a
on!
problem solver, right?
That's exactly right, Stace. You know me too well. And so during all of this, we really looked at, well, what are some other people that are doing it differently. So we were told about the Sharkies fertility clinic at the Gold Coast. And yeah, they were doctors and all of that, but they sort of also had naturopaths and they looked at fertility really differently. So if you do the Western fertility, they say, look, have a baby as young as you can, sort of thing, 25 to 35. After that, it's a geriatric pregnancy, that sort of stuff. Whereas Sharkies was saying, you know what, the closer you get to 40, the more eggs that your body will release because going into perimenopause. And so we sort of had new hope. It was like, okay, so it's not doom and gloom as you get older. There's a possibility. There's opportunities of maybe having multiple, like who knows?
Yeah.
So we really enjoyed working with Sharkies and they said, hey, give us 3 months and if you're not pregnant within 3 months, we will fully support you through IVF. And I thought that is great because they're not shunning Western medicine or anything like that. They're
Hmm.
incorporating it in the whole journey. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, we did it for 3 months. Tim and I, during that time, we got into triathlons. We did Noosa Triathlon, got really fit and fabulous. And I think it might have even been 6 months, sorry, Stacey. So over that time. And
Yeah.
I remember like nothing had still happened. And talking to Sharkies, they're like, well, we've looked at it all. You've, been amazing at following all the instructions, all of this, give me a plan and I'll follow it. But nothing had happened. And so they said, we fully feel that the next step for you is IVF, and because you both are in a really great health, both physically and mentally, what a great step and thing to do to start your IVF journey. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we did. So it was quite funny because we're here in Emerald. We flew down to Brisbane thinking we were just going to talk to an IVF doctor, get a plan, come back in a month or so, and then get started. So we walk in
Yeah.
there, and because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, my periods were all over the place. And one of the first questions, or well, after sort of sharing our history, he's like, "Okay, so where are you on your in your cycle?" And I said, "Oh, I'm really frustrated. I'm this day or whatever on my cycle. It's running a bit late." And he's like, "That's perfect. We could start IVF today."
Oh,
And I
wow.
know.
Get out.
Yeah, so
Goosebumps. Yeah.
I know, even having like, seeing PCOS as being a negative, well, it was a real positive because it really opened the
Mm.
door for us to start. And so we started then and there. My sister-in-law, who we were staying with that night, was a little blown away because she's like, I thought you guys just went for an appointment, not like to walk out with the little freezer bag with all the needles and everything like that. But yeah,
Wow.
we did, and we walked out and we just started the journey, and it was fantastic. Like, I shouldn't say fantastic, but for us, it just felt like because we weren't attached to the outcome at that stage, we'd been through 5 years of this. We got to the point where we're doing everything. We've done it.
Hmm.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, that's also okay as well. And so
Yeah.
we started that, and we ended up getting 23 eggs, which was wild. We fertilized 18, and then at day 5, we had 10 beautiful little embryos. So we were
Wow.
super, super lucky. We were so blessed that that happened. And from one of those little
Yeah.
embryos that was implanted, we now have our beautiful Cascade who just turned 12.
Oh. Ah. Oh, my heart.
Yes! Yeah.
It's like I'm hearing this story for the first time. Like it's just it honestly it makes me so like it makes me almost tear up every time I kind of hear it because it's just that's the ending that I suppose that you hope for and yeah,
Mhm.
sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, yeah. But without that, like without that struggle and that, going through that adversity, I wouldn't have looked outside of teaching. I wouldn't have looked at asking somebody for help and then finding coaching and then doing it myself because I knew from going through that process, feeling how I was to feeling how amazing through the coaching and just learning a different way of looking at things like that helped me so much and it did
Mm.
really improve every part of my life. And so when I became a mum with our first Cascade, I thought, Gerry, you've done it all the all the brain stuff, all the mind stuff. You'll be fine. This motherhood thing will be great. Anyway, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Holy
Yeah.
dooly. Yeah, and yeah, so that's when I, had postnatal depression.
Hmm.
And yeah, again, I felt I'd hit rock bottom, but it was only really through supportive family. So my sisters could see something was happening to me, my parents, my husband, and they just all rallied and just really support me through that. And I got professional help as well. I went and saw a doctor, I went and saw a psychologist, and it was quite transformative because I had my community, but I was also getting help from outside of myself, outside of my family. And I could see that this was a very normal thing that other women had gone through and had come through. Like it wasn't like I was stuck there forever, which was
Yeah,
really
but
liberating.
yeah, back to the seasons, hey, Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I know that being a mum now is something that you're so incredibly proud of, and I can hear it in the way that you tell the story. And after walking that journey, I can just imagine the experience of motherhood. But then there's that, I suppose, that expectation, and then you get to the other side, and that's not your reality. So then walking that journey again, like again, then that's another layer on top of that. But what do you think, with all of that thrown into the mix, what do you think that becoming a mum has taught you about yourself?
Yeah, great question. And, I've heard the saying, actually, it was the people who, Beyond Success, who I did my coach training through. And one of the guys there, he said, look, if you want to know yourself, get into a relationship because it's like a mirror is being reflected. And if you want to get to know yourself a little bit better, start your own business because, again, those things get reflected to you. But if you really want to know yourself, have a child. Holy dooly. It's very, very true. It is like having a mirror of all the different stages. So when I had my firstborn and I was holding him, I was like, oh my goodness, my parents would have felt this love for me, holding me when I was a
Yeah.
baby. And I had never thought about that until having a child and, probably a bit selfish, not really thinking of my own parents,
Oh,
but not
but you
until
don't know
then.
until you know, like, yeah.
Yes, Stacey, that's very true. And so, now I've got two boys, and as my boys are getting older, it's like I'm learning bits about myself when I was that age. So when I was 10 and when I was 12.
Mm.
But probably about 2 years ago, my eldest was flagged at school, and they're saying, look, Gerry, I really encourage you to go to a pediatrician with him. He's having a few little issues in class. And so I thought, being a teacher, I would know this stuff, but I didn't. I'm not in the classroom
Mhm.
with him. And so I started sort of down that road of like, okay, well, let's find out what's going on for you. Because he always felt like he was about 6 months behind his peers. And he'd finally catch up, and then they'd be going into the next grade. And then he'd be 6 months behind, and then he'd finally catch up. So we went to a pediatrician, and I thought, well, I can see it in my firstborn, and I can also see it in my second. So we had to wait about 8 months before we got an appointment. Hello, welcome to regional Queensland.
Yeah, right.
And but it gave me time to like get both boys ready and get the appropriate assessments from teachers and observations and all of that. So then we both of them were diagnosed with ADHD, and when they went through that process and that diagnosis, I was like, oh my gosh, that was me. I used to do that. I still think
Yeah.
this way. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm going to see if I actually have ADHD. And I thought I was being a bit silly about it because I thought, I'm 45. I've lived a great life. Like I've created everything I want to create from within me and around me. Like, why do I now want to be diagnosed? But there was just a part of me that was just wanting that, you know,
Yeah.
um, just addressed and looked at. And so I went
Mhm.
and worked with a psychologist, and it was over a 3 month period, and she had to interview my parents, she had to interview my husband. I had to do all these tests and go and speak to her about different parts of my life, and I did an IQ test, all of this sort of stuff. And would you believe it? I have also been diagnosed with ADHD. Surprise, surprise. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So it really, like, I feel through their journey is when then I am looking at my life. And,
Mm.
I just thought, wow. And I went through a little bit of like the grieving, like, phase. I went through a little bit of a sadness because I thought, what if I was 7, which is the age of my youngest, being diagnosed at
Mm.
7? How would my life have been different?
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I got a bit angry because I thought, why wasn't this picked up? Because there was a lot of things, behaviors I had done throughout my life, things I was beating myself up about, which all related back to the ADHD. And if I
Yeah.
knew or
Wow.
understood my brain better, then I feel like I might have been able to, one, choose different outcomes, understand myself a bit better, and just be a lot nicer to myself, because that was one of the big things too. Through having ADHD, feeling really impulsive, like I can't control myself, doing an action or something like that, and then beating up. So it's like on a little vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I did go through that, like, sadness, resentment, anger. And then I was listening to somebody about my age speak about ADHD, how her and her brother are both diagnosed. Her brother was diagnosed at like 7, but she wasn't diagnosed until later as an adult, like myself. And she said
Mhm.
when her brother was going through primary school, which was in the 80s and 90s, just like myself, he was put into a special class. So he thought from having ADHD, he was really dumb, he wasn't intelligent, he was very slow. And she
Yeah.
said the greatest gift for her was not being diagnosed as a child. And I thought,
Mhm.
maybe that's why
Yeah.
I wasn't diagnosed till now, till 45.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That different perspective on it.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That that's incredible. And I know a lot of women, especially now, are kind of being diagnosed as they first start to notice signs when they hit perimenopause or menopause, or they become a mother because they're seeing things in their children that have been flagged as ADHD. And then they're reflecting back, going, "Oh, I do that. I do that." Um,
Yes.
yeah. So I suppose, I guess I never thought of that anger or that a bit of grief that you would have gone through, going, if only I'd had known, because I suppose that's that not that not knowing and not feeling like you know yourself. So I can understand where that I suppose, sadness or anger came from. But then I do like the flip that the person that you were talking to was kind of like, I'm grateful that I didn't know until now. Do you think that now that you know, do you think that it's bought and you've moved through the stages, do you think now you feel a bit of relief, or do you think that you've still got so many questions and so much learning to do about yourself?
I actually feel like it was the puzzle piece missing.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I've
when
heard so many people say that. That is, yeah,
yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
incredible. When I found out, it was like, oh my goodness. Oh yes, of course, of course, of course. Like it just all these little things fit into place. So that's why it felt like that puzzle piece was missing. I still feel like I'm understanding myself or learning about myself more and more, but I'm coming from the point of view of being a knowing point of view, not this whole like inquisitive and trying to map it out for the very first time. So how I probably sort of think is, like the first people who had like explorers and they were mapping the seas and the islands and all of that, but they had absolutely no idea. They didn't have a pre-map to go with. That's how I felt
Mhm.
like life was before ADHD. I was like going through life, try this, fail, oh, try this, fail, try this, succeed. Oh, good, try it again, succeed, try it again, fail. Oh, geez, try this, fail, try this. It was just like lots of hits and misses. Whereas when
Yeah.
I understood, hey, Gerry, your brain is just a little bit different. It's not better or worse, it's just different. And that's
Hmm.
okay. It's just called ADHD. This is how you might be feeling. This is why this might trigger you. This is why you might do this or that. And
Hmm.
what's really cool is my youngest has started calling us the ADHD family.
Love that.
Because my husband, although undiagnosed, hello. So, but he sees it as his superpower. He sees us
Yeah.
that is our superpower. It doesn't make us different or wrong. It actually helps us solve problems, think outside the box, be creative, be
Hmm.
noisy. you know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible really to hear how all of these experience kind of, ADHD diagnosis within your family, and then the fertility struggles, and then navigating motherhood, and all of that has really kind of helped you to understand yourself better. And I know that along this journey has, and you've kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but it's led you into the work that you do now, and you get to help rural and regional women kind of stop playing small. And I know that you said you've kind of stepped back for a little bit, but helping women to stop playing small and step into their full potential. I suppose I really kind of want to dig into what a life and business coach, or mindset coach is, because before I actually met you, I personally had no idea. So, yeah. So tell me what is what you do?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And before I worked with a life coach as well, I was like, what is this? It sounds really airy fairy. And I suppose it could be as airy fairy as you want it to be. But I think because of my education background, being a teacher, that practical, I want to solve a problem but have action steps to do. Give me something to do. So, probably why life coaching is so different to, say, counseling or anything like that, it's because we look at where you are now and we look at where you want to be. And instead of
Mm,
focusing on the past and what I could have, should have, didn't, we're looking at, okay, well, what are the steps to get you to where you want to be? Don't worry, don't carry the baggage from the past. Let's step into the future and create the version of you that you want. And again, it starts from the inside out. So with your mindset, our mind can be our biggest cheerleader or the thing that keeps us the most stuck. And there's a great quote that's like, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Like,
yeah,
yeah, what is it? If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. It's like
yeah,
your mind is the biggest block of whether you're going to achieve it or not achieve it. And if you don't believe me, like we've just had the Winter Olympics, listen to any of their stories, listen
mm,
to what they have gone through, and they are just normal people who are doing extraordinary things. And you just think, wow, what's the difference between like me and this person that's a gold medalist? Well, you might say, oh, there's so many differences. But when you really boil it down, we're both people. we're the same. It's just our limiting beliefs that are stopping us. It's what's in our mindset. It's what's in ourselves that's either going to push us forward or hold us back. And a lot of the time people are buying into those, negative things or the things that are going to hold them back, but they're not even theirs. They might have been
Mm.
beliefs passed down from family or community, or they might have heard something as a child that girls can't do this or boys can't do that or you shouldn't cry because you're a boy. And then they've just believed it and they've just
Yeah.
hold on to it, and they haven't actually pushed against it. And it's like working with a coach or a mindset coach in all areas of your life. It's about just pushing out of that little comfort zone a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, and just see where it
Yeah.
might get you.
Yeah, yeah. And it all kind of just makes so much sense. But when you're working with women predominantly, what's the first thing that you notice that might be holding them back, or how do you help them to start believing in what's possible?
Yeah, and I think women like wear a lot of hats, and
Mm,
so it's really easy to put everybody else in front of you. And that's also probably one of the most dangerous things that you could do as well, because in a lot of cases, the mum or the woman in a relationship or a family is the anchor. And if they're not looking after themselves, if something happens to them, everything seems to topple and fall. So I working with women especially, and in that very first like interaction or meeting or conversation, you'll hear just how many people they put in front of themselves before their needs are even met. And I know
mm,
myself, like right back when I was going through postnatal depression and anxiety with my firstborn, for me, a win was having a big drink of water in the morning. So getting up, going out to the kitchen and having a drink of water, and that was a huge win because I'd put my
mm,
baby before myself. I'd put, the needs of other people before myself. I'd sort of forgotten about me. And
yeah.
you might think, geez, having a drink of water, how is that a goal? That was a goal for me at that stage.
Mm,
That's where I was because everything was in front of me, or everybody else's, I perceived their needs to be more important than mine. Yes, when you got a newborn, they definitely tell you their needs are very important, but it still doesn't mean you don't have to or can't look after yourself. And that small way of me looking after myself was having a drink of water. That was a goal for me, and it was a big goal. But now, obviously, that's different. But again, I've got to be really careful. Gerry, are you putting the needs of your kids in front of yourself when my kids are getting older now? They can look after
mm,
themselves a lot more and they can help around the house a lot more. Why am I doing all of the housework when there's four of us living here? So really
yeah.
delegating that so it's a shared responsibility. So it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a mum, I'm a cleaner, I'm, a colleague, all of that. No, you know what? You're a person in this
Hmm.
house that is contributing to the mess and you're also contributing to keeping it clean. So yeah, just
Yeah.
really looking at like what are the hats that we wear as women, and is there a few hats that maybe you could share, you could offload, you could delegate, delete, whatever it is.
Yeah, that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's just
Hmm.
so prevalent in that you need to fill your own cup. Kind of so putting yourself first sometimes to be able to, or a lot of the time to be able to pour out to other people. You know, that saying when they say when you're on an airplane, you put your mask on first and then you help the people around you because you're no good without your mask on. I think that
Exactly.
just portrays that so well. And like you said, at that point where you just needed to get up and have a drink of water, you were, I suppose, teaching yourself, well, I just need to put me first.
Yeah,
And yeah,
100%.
I think that's, yeah, really, really incredible. And I think that that's a really cool, like, strategy to kind of share with other people, and that it might be just something so simple as getting a drink of water or going for a walk around the block or whatever it might be, reading a trashy novel that you like or whatever it might be, just to do something for you that makes you feel full. So I really appreciate you sharing that with our listeners.
Yeah.
I want to know something that you're super proud of, because listening to your journey, I mean, you've gone through challenges, you've gone through growth, and you've kind of just come out the other side, and you do incredible work with other women. And I I can attest to that. So what makes me really curious is what are you most proud of in your life that maybe people don't always see? Maybe, it's something a little bit behind the curtain, or maybe people do see it and you're still super like you are, just that's what you're proud of. But yeah, tell us.
I love these questions. The thing I'm really proud of now is I've actually got back into water skiing. And
Oh, fun.
yeah. So as a kid, my extended family, so it was my dad, his two brothers, his sister, their families, and my grandparents. So my grandmother absolutely loved water skiing. And she had a boat called Sunflower. And we would go skiing here at Fairbairn Dam, just out of Emerald. And I can remember I've probably got about 25 cousins, so it'd all be there. But if you were a kid, you only got three chances to get up on a ski. And so you did not want to waste it because that was your chance done for the day.
Oh
So
no.
so you would just like hang on, and I would always count to 10, like just hang on, count to 10. And, the rope might get ripped out of your hands, or you might sort of wobble, wobble, fall off. But, I always was determined by that third time I'm going to get up. So, I skied a lot like as a kid. I skied a lot when I was without children. Tim and I were first together because my grandmother, this grandmother that absolutely loved skiing, when she turned 70, she ended up in hospital with pneumonia. And my grandfather said to her, "Look, if you get over this pneumonia, I'll buy you a ski boat." And she was like, she got over it pretty quick, smart. So from 70 to 86, she was skiing.
Oh,
And yeah,
incredible.
yeah. So she's a very big role model to me. She's since passed, but I remember at her 80th birthday, she's like, "Oh, I've probably only got a couple more years of skiing left in me." But anyway, 86. And so yeah, I've just got back into skiing as of the end of last year, and I'm up on two, but my goal for 2026 is to get up on
Oh,
one ski. So yeah.
that's
Um,
incredible. That's such a cool story.
So it's probably a bit random when you said what are you most proud of, but at the moment, again, it's just those little things within my life. It's probably
Oh,
focused a bit back on myself again, instead of sort of out there world domination. It's like just a bit of Jerry domination right now, or a little bit of
yes, I love
yeah.
that. I
Mm.
absolutely love that. Uh, because you went back to that place of when you were little and you were remembering, you had your three chances in your out. I
Yep.
love that. I love that push to get it done. Like,
Oh
kids, that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. And now
I can
now as an
imagine they're going to have
adult,
to.
yeah. Now as an adult, like, oh, I totally get it. Now as an adult, I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
right, three chances back in the boat, next.
Oh, that's so funny. If you had an opportunity to tell your younger self something, just because we've stepped back to that time right now,
Yeah.
what would you want yourself to know?
Yeah, I'd probably give younger Jerry a little motto, which is everything is working out for you.
Mm,
And yeah, and it'd be like a motto or a mantra that I would just repeat to myself, because it's what I do now. I'm like, everything is working out.
yeah,
Everything is working out for me. And
yeah,
even when I'm in a tricky situation or anything like that, I'm just like, everything is working out for me. And
hmm,
it does. It's like through the IVF. Everything is working out for me, and we were so beautiful, like so blessed that we had our beautiful Cascade, and then we were lucky enough to fall pregnant naturally with Jax. So it's just like everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that, and I think sometimes we need to just remind ourselves that everything is working out for us, and
Mm.
it sometimes might not feel like it in the moment, but it is working out for us. And yeah, I think that sometimes we just need to hear those words. So thank you for
Yeah.
that, and thanks for putting it out there because that's what you would say to you. And yeah, I think that sometimes some people just, especially me, I forget that. Like, oh yeah, just stop for a minute. Everything's working out. Even just that pause in that time is such a big moment. Where you can have that moment to just look around and go, actually, it's okay. It's actually okay.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
that's a really good way of putting it too. It does. It creates that pause, and I think we can get carried away with thinking of worst case scenario or what ifs, but they're always what ifs with the negative. So that everything is working out for me, everything's working out for me. It just reframes it to a really positive. And again, I think it puts you into the mindset of opportunities or solving problems, just coming
Yeah.
from it from a different space.
Yeah, makes so much sense. Gerry, you have always, without a doubt, been a huge inspiration to me. So before I wrap up, I would really love to know who is a woman that's inspired you or deserves to be seen or heard or celebrated, and what
Oh my
makes her
gosh.
extraordinary.
Stacey, there's so many.
This
Oh,
is why the podcast was born.
I love this. Actually, I am going to share. So much like you, working with a life coach, and it just opens your eyes. I have to shout out a good friend of mine who actually is also my coach as well, who I still work with to this day and have worked with her for so long before I even had children, actually. But Rach Downey, and she's in Tassie, and we met through coaching. But she is just so inspiring. She's got 4 children, and you know how we talked about putting all those hats on? She
Yeah,
just, I don't know, just does it so well with everything that she has happening. 4 beautiful children, successful coaching business, is an author, but just a bloody great chick. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I've got so much respect for her, and she's always learning. So, she's reading new things, she's listening to things, but she's implementing them in her life and then with her clients as well. So I just find that
yeah,
so inspiring, and the ripple effect. Like, she reached out to me when I was at a really low place, and I thank her. Like, I thank her
hmm,
pretty much on the daily, because I'm stepping into life with this new mindset. I'm stepping into problems with this mindset. I'm stepping into relationships with this positive mindset. It's not a limiting, it's that opposite. So it's like that growth and thrive mindset. And I really have to thank Rach for that. So
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. She sounds like a wonderful person. I actually think I follow her on Instagram, to tell you the truth.
Oh, you better.
Gerry, thank you so much for sharing your story today, the challenges, the growth, and of course, the work that you've done on yourself and with other women, helping women step into their full potential and their mindset. And thank you for showing us that even in the messy parts of life and challenging seasons of life, that growth and resilience and joy are always possible. I really love talking to you all the time. I always just feel so lit up, and I love that we can just have a good giggle. I always feel so grateful when I get to talk to you. If you guys have loved what you have heard today and want to know more about Gerry and her work when she steps back into it, after having a break, if she does, it's gerryhuston.com, or you can find her on socials, Gerry Huston, Rural Mindset Coach. If you have trouble, reach out to me and I will share her links with you. But thank you again, Gerry, for hanging out with me this afternoon. As always, I had so much fun.
Thank you, Stace. I really appreciate this, and I have a feeling you might have found your calling, because I could listen to your voice all day. I love it.
Oh, thank you. You are so
Yeah,
welcome. And I appreciate you so much.
thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's conversation with one of the women we know. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I'd love if you shared it with a woman in your life who might love it too. And don't forget to follow along so you never miss a conversation. And if there's a woman in your life that you know has a story worth sharing, I would love for you to nominate her at The Women We Know on Instagram or Facebook, or shoot me an email at thewomenweknowpodcast@gmail.com. There's a dot in between each of the words, the.women.we.know.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening and being part of this community that celebrates her story, her resilience, her honesty, her triumph, her challenges, her life. We celebrate her.